Hi there, this is Mithun Shanbag, founder of Skewed Ventures and creator of CloudSkew. CloudSkew is an online diagramming editor that allows you to create cloud architecture diagrams for free. Let's just dive right into it and take a look how this has been built using Azure. So let me just share my screen. All right. So you access CloudSkew by going to cloudskew.com and you click on this Getting Started button. You will need to log in with either GitHub or LinkedIn. I'm already logged in, so I should be able to access my diagram right away. So this is what the cloud editor, cloud diagramming editor looks like. All your icons are available in this palette. So every single thing that you need for, let's say, sketching Azure diagrams, all the icons are already available in here. You can also enable icons for other cloud providers. So in this example, I have enabled icons for Kubernetes and other CNCF projects. So let's say, for example, here we have this Azure Cosmos DB, and we are interested in tracking its change feed. So we'll just, let's say, uh, use the Functions app. Okay, so and we can annotate that. And we can style the text as needed. So let's reduce the size of the text, make it a bit bold, and let's connect it up to Azure Cosmos DB. So we can say connector line out, connect this to Azure DB, right? So all these diagrams are auto saved. So you don't have to worry about uh, losing any of your diagrams. So your diagrams are auto-saved and available in this tab. We also have a bunch of templates that you can, instead of starting from a blank diagram, you can start from a pre-created template. And then, of course, you have the ability to export diagrams, as JPEG, PNG, or bitmap. Let's do that. You could also print the diagram, or you could save the diagram as a template if you want to reuse it again and again, or you could share it with other folks. You can just create a link and you can share that link with other folks, and they can anonymously log in and view the diagram. Oh, sorry, they can anonymously view the diagram without having to log in. So this is what the exported diagram looks like. All right. So far, so good. All right. So let's take a look at the high-level features. So first and foremost, it's free. So we don't charge individual users. The product is going to remain free for individual users. It's an online diagram editor, which means you don't have to install anything. Just log in and start diagramming. All the icons are preloaded. So we have icons for Azure, AWS, GCP, Kubernetes, Alibaba Cloud, and Oracle Cloud, and a couple more like Elastic Cloud. So you don't have to go searching for icons. Everything is just available inside the app. Now, if you find something missing, you can always upload custom images. We have the facility as well. So you can upload custom images, either JPEGs or PNGs, and then insert them into your diagram canvas. Uh, it's like I said, it's your diagram repository. You don't have to worry about exporting the diagram. You can just persist it inside inside the editor itself. There's also a built-in document editor, which is interesting. So generally, the workflow that most people follow is they sketch a diagram, then print it out to an image format, and then insert it in a Word document, and then start describing the architecture inside a Word document. But what we've done is we've attached a diagram editor um, inside, sorry, the document editor inside the inside this app itself. So you can actually describe your architectures in this document. And this document now travels with your diagram. So if your diagram gets shared, if you share your diagram with other folks, they will be able to view this documentation as well. So all the work of exporting diagrams is just sort of taken care of. And yeah, now, of course, you can always print, export, and share the diagrams. So that's the high level features. It's pretty straightforward, simple app. Now let's look behind the scenes to see how this thing was actually created on Azure. So we actually have a article that describes in great detail, all the inner workings. But I think this diagram is a good representative. Uh, yeah, so let's take a look at this diagram. So at the core, we have uh, two front-end apps. So we have the landing page, which we just saw. That's a static ViewPress app, authored with Markdown and just serves of static images. Nothing fancy about it. So it's straightforward. Then we have the diagram editor itself, which is an Angular 8 app created with Angular 8 and RxJS and a couple of other secret ingredients. So that is this one. Now, both of those are served out of Azure storage accounts. We've enabled static site hosting on those storage accounts, and that's how we serve them out. In addition, we have two more provisioned storage accounts. So one is for serving out all the icons and images. We have a separate storage account for that. And then we have another storage account where users uploaded images. Like if you have any custom icons that you upload, those are persisted here. So yeah, so essentially all the front end related resources are served out of storage accounts. Now, of course, we use a CDN to front the front end apps. So the obvious benefit of a CDN is you get caching at various regional POPs and compression. But Azure CDN, in addition, also provides you with the rewriting URL rewriting rules. So we do HTTP to HTTPS redirection using rewriting rules. In addition, it also provides for TLS offload. So it provides TLS certs, fully managed certs. So if the cert expires, Azure CDN automatically renews it. So that's one of the greatest benefits of Azure CDN. And because we are using custom domains, so all the subdomain names to CDN endpoint mapping is done through Azure DNS. So that's pretty much the front end side. We use Auth0 as our identity provider. So essentially, we use implicit flow OAuth. We get the ID and access token from Auth0. You log in with your GitHub and GitHub or LinkedIn credentials. Auth0 gives us the ID and access tokens. And also we inject a bunch of custom claims inside our JWT for role-based access control and stuff like that. Now let's come to the backend. So the backend, at the backend, we have a couple of web APIs written with ASP.NET Core and Entity Framework Core. So the main API is this CloudSkew API, so which essentially handles all CRUD operations related to diagram templates, and user profiles. So basic put, post, get, delete methods. So and then we also have a print helper API. So this is isolated in a separate app service because it has a higher memory footprint, so it tends to recycle more often. So we've isolated it out in a separate app service. All of these, of course, are in the same app service plan. It's a containerized app service plan, and I'll get into that details about the containerization at a later point. Yeah, so both of those apps read their configuration from the Azure Key Vault. So Azure Key Vault is a centralized key value store, very secure. So we have access policies that only, so both of these web APIs have managed identities enabled on them, and only those managed identities can access the key vault. So when the apps start up, the very first thing they do is read their configuration values from the key vault, like connection strings or passwords, those sort of secrets, and then they bootstrap themselves. Then let's talk about the main, the persistence layer. So we use SQL Azure for persistence. So we primarily deal with three entities: diagram templates, and user profiles. So everything is stored in SQL Azure. Now, because this is a preview version, we haven't enabled geo replication or read replicas yet. Everything is being just served out of one instance. But because this is a managed instance, one of the things you get for free is all the point-in-time restores, long-term retention backups. So all of that is sort of managed for you. We also have a Cosmos DB, but this is mainly for experimentation purposes. So all the diagram metadata essentially is JSON that we push in here, and then we decompose it into graphs, and then we run some experiments using the Gremlin APIs. So you can technically take out the Cosmos DB thing, and it wouldn't affect production at all. So this is more for experimentation. Now, because we have autosave enabled, now every time the user modifies the diagram, or like drags the template, drags an icon onto the canvas, or modifies some text, it sends a whole bunch of save requests. So that tends to overwhelm the database. So what we've done is we've used a couple of things to smoothen out the load. So on the front end side, we use debouncing. We debounce the calls to the server, and on the back end side, we use this queue-based load leveling. So essentially, the APIs don't write to the databases directly. They don't commit the writes directly. They instead commit it to this queue, which is Azure Service Bus. So everything is queued up. All write requests are queued up, and then they are asynchronously dequeued in batches using a function app with the input binding, and it then it writes out to the SQL Azure DB. So this ensures that the load plateaus out, load is constant, and there are no spikes. So the DTU utilization doesn't exceed some threshold. Let's see, right. Monitoring. Okay, so we use App Insights SDK in both our front end and back end apps. So one of the things we utilize pretty heavily are the App Insights custom events. So let's say you search for an icon and you don't find it in the icon palette. We would like to know about it. So we log a custom event in that case, and then we use Kusto query language to query all those things. For infra monitoring, essentially we use metrics-based monitoring, and then we have Azure Portal dashboards for them. For alerting, we use Azure Monitor Alerts. So some of the things that we raise tickets for is essentially when we return 500 errors from any of the backend APIs, or you have dead letter messages in the service bus, or the DTU utilization spikes beyond some threshold. So we want to be alerted. So all the incident management is done through Azure Alerts, Azure Monitor Alerts. Now let's talk about the DevOps portion of it. So all our, so this is a microservice model. So for each of the components here, essentially they are deployed separately. Most of the source code, resides in Azure repos. And then we have continuous integration turned on. So we use multi-stage YAML-based pipelines to make sure that every time there is a check-in into master, we actually build, test it, and deploy to the test environment. Now I'll talk about the various environments that we have. So we have a development environment, we have a testing environment, and we have a production environment. So we use Terraform essentially to script out all the provisioning. So one of the advantages of Terraform is, with one set of scripts, you can replicate the environments in, create multiple replicas of those environments. So dev, test, and production essentially comes from the same set of scripts, but they are all replicas of each other. The only difference is they have different key vault values. So they have different, the instances have different host names, or they have different endpoint URLs and things like that. So yeah, the continuous integration ensures that everything is built, test, and deployed to the test environment. It's not deployed to production. So for production, we would like to use something like a blue-green deployment, but given that the product is still in preview, we went with a straightforward manual release process. We are not using feature flags at all at this point. So for the front end deployment, we essentially just use the pipeline tasks to push to the storage accounts, the apps. And for the backend deployment, essentially we build Docker images and push them out to Azure Container Registry. And there is a webhook in the container registry that wakes up these containerized app services, and then they go ahead and restart with the new image and pull the values out from the key vault and then bootstrap themselves back up. So that is pretty much how we built this on a Lego bed of Azure services. Yeah, so here's what you can do. Go to cloudskew.com, start playing around with the app, and send us your feedback. You can contact us. Let me just leave all my details here. And I am pretty active on Twitter as well. So you can ping me over Twitter if you want to. And that's all I have for today. Thanks so much for watching this presentation, and have a great day ahead. Thank you all.